The sun was beginning to set over the quiet suburban park when Daniel found himself juggling a stroller, a diaper bag, and a fussy 10-month-old named Emma. It wasn't how he imagined his Saturday evening, but being a single dad meant learning to adapt, quickly. After losing his wife in childbirth, every day had become a patchwork of trial, error, and fierce love. He wasn't perfect, but Emma's tiny hand wrapped around his finger each morning reminded him that he was enough, or at least trying to be. That evening, Daniel had taken Emma out for a walk, hoping the fresh air would lull her to sleep. He passed the playground, the tennis courts, and finally settled near a bench by the duck pond. That's when he heard it, a sickening thud followed by a sharp, pained cry. Instinct snapped into place. A man, likely in his 50s, had collapsed near the running trail. Runners and dog walkers froze, unsure of what to do. Daniel's heart raced. He looked down at Emma, then toward the injured man writhing in pain. His eyes darted around until they landed on a woman walking toward him, concern written all over her face. Without thinking, he stepped forward and gently pressed Emma into the woman's arms. "Please," he said breathlessly. "Just hold her, I need to help him." The woman's eyes widened, startled by the unexpected responsibility now in her arms. But something about the urgency in Daniel's voice, the trust in his eyes, made her nod. "I've got her," she said softly, clutching the baby to her chest. Daniel sprinted toward the injured man, kneeling beside him. "Sir. Can you hear me?" He checked for a pulse, steady, but faint. The man had hit his head on the pavement and was bleeding. Daniel pulled off his sweatshirt to apply pressure, directing a bystander to call 911. Behind him, Emma whimpered, unsettled by the chaos. The woman, Grace, rocked her gently, humming a lullaby she hadn't sung in years. It surprised her how easily the rhythm returned, how natural it felt to sway with a baby in her arms again. She hadn't held a child since losing her own to a rare illness 6 years ago. Her life since had been marked by silence and a grief too heavy to speak of. When the ambulance arrived, paramedics rushed in. Daniel stepped back, his hands bloodied but calm. As they lifted the man onto a stretcher, Daniel turned, suddenly remembering, Emma. There she was, bundled in the arms of a complete stranger, yet safe, peaceful even. Grace looked up at him with tears in her eyes. "She's beautiful," she whispered, handing Emma back. "Thank you," Daniel said, cradling his daughter. "I didn't know what else to do." "You did exactly what you needed to," Grace replied, brushing a tear from her cheek. "You helped him. And you trusted me with your whole world." They sat on the bench in silence for a moment, the sirens fading in the distance. Daniel looked at Grace. "I'm Daniel. This is Emma." "I'm Grace," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "And holding her, reminded me what it feels like to be alive again." There was something in her tone that made Daniel pause. "Do you have kids?" "I did," she said, her eyes distant but warm. "I had a daughter. Lily. She passed away. It's been 6 years." Daniel lowered his gaze, the weight of her words pressing on his chest. "I'm sorry," he murmured. "I can't imagine. I thought I'd never hold a baby again," she said, her voice cracking. "But just now, with Emma, it felt like something inside me clicked back into place." Emma stirred, reaching toward Grace with her chubby little arms. Without hesitation, Grace extended a finger, which Emma wrapped her hand around with startling certainty. Daniel watched, astonished. Emma wasn't usually quick to warm up to strangers. "You're good with her," he said, half smiling. Grace looked up at him, something brave and broken in her expression. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course." She paused, then leaned closer. "Can I be part of her life? Be her mom?" The world seemed to still. The ducks were silent. The breeze paused mid-whisper. Daniel blinked. "What? I know it's crazy. We just met. But something about today, about her, about you, it doesn't feel like chance. It feels like, grace. Like maybe I was meant to be here. He studied her face, not desperation, not delusion, but sincerity. Raw, aching hope. I don't expect anything, she added quickly. I'd love to help. Even just babysit. Volunteer. Anything. Daniel looked down at Emma, now playing with Grace's necklace, and something in his heart softened. For the first time in a long time, he felt he wasn't carrying it all alone. You want to come by sometime? He asked gently. Maybe read her a story. Tears spilled down Grace's cheeks. I'd love that. More than you know. Over the next few weeks, Grace visited often. What began as short visits blossomed into something deeper. She brought books and songs and lullabies. She brought laughter and quiet understanding. Emma lit up when Grace entered the room. And Daniel began to breathe easier, smile more, trust again. One evening, as Grace tucked Emma into her crib and turned to leave, Daniel stopped her. She calls you Mama sometimes, he said, his voice hushed. Grace's eyes filled instantly. She does. He nodded. Anne. I think I'm okay with that. She walked toward him, uncertain, overwhelmed. I don't know what this is, Daniel said. But I know it feels right. You saved more than a man that day. You gave me hope. You gave Emma a mother's love. Grace reached for his hand, and for a moment, all the pain, all the loss, all the years of lonely struggle fell away. Together, in the soft glow of a nursery lamp, a new family began, not by blood, but by something deeper. Kindness. Trust. Grace. And sometimes, all it takes to change a life is one act of courage. Handing your whole world to a stranger and believing, somehow, it will all be okay. Because love finds a way, even in the most unexpected moments. And when it does, it heals everything.